Hello and welcome to my fifth video reviewing Black Clover. This video will cover the start of the Shadow Palace arc up until Asta defeating Zagreus. Diving into this with the two Black Bull fights, out of these two I do prefer Dorothy versus the Black Bulls. This fight provides some great counters for some of the more broken abilities that have just kind of reigned through the series, such as the spells for Vanessa and Charmy. I also do have quite a fondness for the mix of magical creativity and the constant application of science present here. Sally integrates really well into this battle with her knowledge and strategy. Following this, we get our first real showing from the captain of the Coral Peacocks. And I'll be honest, I do wish that we had more of Dorothy through the series. Although for a majority of the fight, we see the elf using Dorothy's magic, it's still incredibly powerful as well as an absolute visual spectacle. Unfortunately, in both the Spade Saga and the final arc, this character is just kind of left on the bench in terms of real involvement. This fight does have a wonderful conclusion, though, with Dorothy actually showing up, and we get to see some amazing artwork here from Tabata, with the small clash between the two Dorothys. As for the Gauche fight, while I don't prefer it, it is still a good fight. This fight exemplifies some incredible teamwork from the Black Bulls, and while there are really good emotional moments here for both Gauche and Henry, neither one really hit for me in an impactful way. Both moments were, however, great for the character development of Gauche and Henry. I think these two fights also function as great end of the arc battles for a lot of the secondary cast members of the Black Bulls, and I feel I did a rather fantastic job with handling all of the characters involved here. Moving into the Shadow Palace, we start with some smaller fights that I do still quite like. The Mario Leona and Fuegoleon battles, while short, were quite fun on the reread. I do like the sibling rivalry and the paralleling panels between the two of them in Chapter 192. Not to mention, the artwork in Chapter 192 is quite appealing, especially the detailed flames of Fuegoleon contrasting the bright, overbearing aura of heat emanating from Mario Leona. Of these early fights in the Shadow Palace, one stands above the others to me in its artistic depiction and execution. That is, the Rill fights, both Asta and Mimosa versus Rill, as well as Charmy versus Rill, or rather the elf reincarnated in his body. There is so much creativity on display here, as well as just beautiful artwork from Tabata. This fight features some very detailed and well-shaded panels. On the other hand, Noelle versus Fauna is a fight that I really wish we had more time with, especially after Jack arrives. I'd love to have seen Jack and Noelle work together in order to defeat Fauna, especially since Noelle has such a level-headed mentality with such chaotic magic, while Jack has such a chaotic and crazed personality, but very precise and concentrated magic. It would have been nice to see the two of them work together, because there are two characters that are so opposed and you would never expect to see them in the same area. Moving on from these fights is my favorite plot twist and reveal in the entirety of Black Clover. That being, the reveal of the true villain of the arc is a devil. I remember back when I read Black Clover for the very first time, and this reveal blew me away. I almost could not believe what I was reading. And at that time, that page where Zagreus showed up was probably a top 3 page for me in the series. Word Soul Magic is both creative as well as kind of scary. And while I feel like it is just not used to its fullest potential here, I did find a great deal of enjoyment with it and how it was used in this arc. Patry falling into despair from Zagreus revealing his plan is almost painful to watch. It's such a well done sequence, both in how it destroys Patry's mind and gives us tangible breadcrumbs into the events of 500 years ago. To add to this, it's followed by Asta and Yuno getting up and reaffirming their will to fight, coupled with some wonderful artwork. In particular, I love the contrasting overabundance of light and darkness emanating from the two of them, as well as how Rhea and Zagred give explanations on what's occurring with them, being that these two would have the best understanding of the effect Asta and Yuna are having on their surrounding environment. Another reveal I quite liked was that of a dark elf. The existence of it fascinates me, and I feel like Patry really was the perfect candidate for it. Following this, a scene that demonstrates some real growth from Asta and Yuno is their combined effort to block Ray of Divine Punishment, a move that I feel the early series captains would have quite had some trouble with. However, these two do manage to pull it off, and I love seeing their growth here. Now we arrive at my second favorite chapter of the entire series, chapter 200. Although this is my second favorite chapter, it does contain my favorite speech from Asta. Patry has regressed to being a child in his own mental landscape, and here we even see him question if humans are evil. But in a childish manner, he latches on to his safety in his previous black and white ideology. I think this set of panels in particular does a great job showing how Zagred has mentally broken Patry. Diving into Asta's speech, I find a lot to love here, especially when it comes to Asta's true ideology. Asta admits facts to Patry, facts he needs to face. And instead of rubbing in his failures, cursing him out, or stating that he wants to kill him, Asta tells him to quit giving up. Asta, although aggressive, is trying to help Patry. He wants to pull him out of this darkness that he's cocooned in, because Asta has also been there. All the way back in chapter 1, Asta sustaining the attack from Revchi, Revchi makes Asta face facts that he has no magic. Revchi talks down to Asta, and Asta's about to admit that he gives up. He is moments away from succumbing to the same darkness that Patry has, until Yuno pulls him back. Asta even gives Patry a real-time example with Julius. Julius filled a role in the Clover Kingdom similar to that of Licht for the Elves. And again, after Asta says he will never forgive Patry, he does not stoop to Patry's level, saying that he will kill him, but instead tries to give Patry motivation by showing Patry his ideology, telling him that he should do everything in his power to stop Zagred. When Patry questions why Asta is trying so hard, we flash back to Asta's dream from Mario Leona versus Rhea, the free country that Asta wants to create. And so to achieve that dream, Asta will not give up on Patry or the elves. Patry, wide-eyed, realizes that Asta shares the same ideology as Lumiere. He clutches Asta's robe and lets the light in, coming back from the darkness. What really makes this chapter hit for me is Asta's dream and ideology. Sure, it is the classic shonen dream. Wizard King, number one hero, Hokage, Pirate King. But what really stands out to me is that I love the steps Tabata lays out here to show such a natural form of progression for Asta to reach his goal. Not just power-wise, but the mental challenges that he must face when confronting others and their ideology or their pain. And I'm not trying to knock on other series and their portrayal in their road to the shonen goal. I think Luffy in One Piece is a standout example of a character with a phenomenal journey to reaching their goal. I personally just really love Asta's journey and how much it's focused on mental challenges as it is physical challenges. The next big moment to bring light to here is the return of the first Wizard King. The reveal itself is one of my favorite moments in the arc, and the backstory involving Lumiere and Sekre was actually the main reason that I wanted to reread Black Clover. I knew their flashback was important, however, I could hardly remember a single detail that happened in these chapters. So, instead of just rereading the flashback, I decided to reread the entire series. The backstory itself has so many interesting and incredible moments, And for me, learning about Lumiere was fascinating. On top of this, the artistic depiction of the genocide of the elves was very well captured, in my opinion. The plot point that I had genuinely forgotten about the most was that it was Licht who transformed into the demonic monster that Lumiere fought. The, the battle between these two looks fantastic and features some very well contrasted panels from Tabata. My two favorite panels in chapter 205 are the two-page spread of Lumiere and Licht's demon form fighting, due mostly in part to the darkness and light depicted across Licht's demon form, as well as the panel of Lumiere's face once he lands the final blow. Because of the amount of emotion that you can see in his face, especially with the tears welling up in his eyes, Licht's return is a wonderfully drawn panel, and the next scene following this was quite nice. Licht mentions how Lumiere saved him, and it appears that someone has come forth to stop Patry. This is a parallel between Asta and Lumiere that I had not realized before. And it really does make me wish that we got more of Asta and Patry outside of the elf reincarnation arc. Licht and Lumiere versus Zagrid was very short. However, I do love this small clash. My favorite sequence from it has to be Lumiere throwing the light sword, followed by Licht catching it, and then rebounding the attack to hit Zagrid. Another set of great paralleling panels for Asta and Yuno is the two double-page panels of the Spirit of Zephyr and the Black Divider. Artistically, I really love both of these panels, as well as how the rivalry between these two pushes one another to continue to evolve in how they use their magic. Then this is followed by a very fun combo attack from the two, ending with Asta getting a good hit in on Zagrid. I always appreciate seeing Asta and Yuno grow alongside one another, and I feel they really have some spectacular moments in the series when they're working together. One of my favorite narrative points, actually, of Black Clover is that we always see Asta and Yuno working together at the end of major sagas. Yami's dimensional slash equinox is a standout moment for his character, showing the level of focus he can place into a single attack, as well as displaying just how incredible dark magic could be, landing such a devastating attack on Zagrid. Now comes Asta's big moment with finishing Zagrid. I really like this moment, as it shows Sekire verbalizing her faith in Asta and pushing him the same way that Yuno does. Asta amplifies the anti-magic of his Black Divider and lands the finishing blow on Zagrid. Like many other pages and panels in this arc, this one is so well drawn, and the flow of the final slash is fluent and well executed. I also feel like the final page of chapter 211 is a great milestone for Asta's journey. That about wraps up this video. In the next video, I'm going to cover the sort of minor epilogue arc to the Elf Reincarnation saga, and then give some of my overall thoughts on the Elf Reincarnation saga as a whole. And after that, I'm going to move on to the Spade arc, which I'm probably going to have even more to say than I did with the Elf Reincarnation saga. But that's going to be all from me today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.